All right, so we have another variation of a spine car, in particular a lumbar spine car. The main variation that we tend to always focus on when it comes to spine cars is going through basically the spinal wave or the cat-cow and trying to segment joint by joint up and down the spine. That mainly is just focusing on flexion and extension of the spine. We're just going to focus now on the lumbar spine and focus on not only flexion and extension, but also lateral bending or lateral flexion of the spine and then rotation of the spine. So what we're going to do to work on this is, again, get into the quadruped position. So on your hands and knees, hands are going to be right under your shoulders, knees right under the hip, and the typical spine car that we work on is spine segmentation, working from the tail going all the way up, working from the tail going all the way up, obviously a lot slower, and then working from the head going all the way down, and then working from the head going all the way down, trying to segment by segment into flexion and extension. For today's purpose, we're going to work on just segmentation through the lumbar spine. We're going to start working from the tail up to the lower part of your mid-back and just flexion and extension. Then we're going to work lateral bending, and then we're going to put those together into an entire lumbar spine circular car, okay? So starting in a neutral position, let's go all the way tucked, tail tucked. We're going to work from the low back up to the mid-back, joint by joint. There's 5 of them there. We're trying to move super slow, segment by segment. Once you can't extend anymore because we get into the mid-back, we're going to reverse, starting at the low back. Tuck that between your tail, and then work yourself up. Okay, opposite direction, tail to the sky, work into the mid-back. Okay, and then tail tucks, and then round through the upper back. Okay, I'm going to find neutral. Now we're going to work side bending or lateral flexion of the spine. So we're going to hike your right hip up towards your right rib cage, and then the opposite, hike your left hip to your left rib cage. And this is side bending, or like kind of just wagging your tail side to side. What you're going to find out is that you might do a lot of bending through your upper back. We're trying to keep your upper back relatively still, and it's just kind of your pelvis and your low back bending side to side. You might have to play around with positioning of your hips and knees because some people might get pinching or jamming within their hips, and that's not ideal. So once you figure out lateral bending, side to side bending, and once you feel comfortable with flexion and extension, we're then going to try to put those all together and just try our best to isolate this chunk of our low back. So we're not going through a full spinal circular car, we're just doing kind of pelvic circles. So let's hike right hip to our right rib cage. Stay there, we're going to round our back out, tuck the tail. Then we're going to hike to the left while you stay rounded. Bring your belly button to the ground, tail to the sky. Hike then to the left, or I'm sorry, to the right. And we're just drawing a circle. Hike to the left. Bring the belly button down, tail to the sky, hike to the right. Round, hike to the left. Extend, hike to the right. And then round. And then the reverse would be hiking to the right, extending, hiking to the left, rounding, and then just drawing smooth circles, making this as big as you can, trying to isolate it to the best of your ability to the lower back only, because we're working just the lumbar spine. And again, staying away from closing angle pain. So we don't want to be pushing through pinching or jamming, and we definitely don't want to push through anything that sends sciatica or electrical sensations down the glute or down the leg. So really work on controlling what you can in a pain-free range, and there you guys have it. Just another variation of a lumbar spine car that incorporates not only flexion and extension, but lateral bending or lateral flexion of the spine, and then also rotation of the spine and pelvis. So give that a try. If you have questions with it, let us know.